Well, hey folks, this is Fat Guy Flies RC coming to you from the Fat Guy Flies RC studios. And this is the Hobby King L-39 64mm EDF. Now, interestingly enough, this EDF is a 50mm sized EDF, but has a 64mm motor in it. Now, Hobby King wanted me to make this very clear to y'all that when this is released, that it's gonna, the factory's making a certain amount, gonna release them all, and when they're gone, they're gone. So they've said make sure you let your viewers know that it's going to be a limited not necessarily a limited edition, but a limited time and a limited amount. And once they're gone, they're gone. They won't be making them again. I don't know the reason. They didn't tell me why, but that's just what I was told to tell you. So there you go. They sent it out to me for a review. So let's go ahead and unbox it and take a look at it. Now I've already opened it once just to make sure everything is straight and good. Give you some of the features. 50mm EDF size, but with a 64mm power and performance. Stunning and vibrant scale scheme. Low part count, compact size, large battery access. Now the wingspan is 635mm or 25 inches. 64mm fan. The motor, the fan is a 2220 with a 4000 kV outrunner. Has a 50 amp ESC. 3 9-gram servos, and runs on a 2200 4S. So given the size and that 50 amp ESC and a 64mm 4000, this thing is going to scream. Now I'm curious about the fan count. It doesn't say whether it's 11 blade, 9 blade, 2 blade, what it is. So, but it is the Hobby King, not Avios. It's Hobby King brand. Packed. Where, look at that. See, only the quick setup guide comes out. Okay, let's got a very bright, very bright color scheme. All right, looks like to me it'd be better to open it from one end here. Oh yeah, this almost looks like metal. Look how shiny that is. That's a steel or rod through there. It is a pinch hinge, but it's got laminate in it. Already got the connection point hooked up for you. Look how much throw there is on that. Yeah, this thing's going to perform. I can already tell it's going to be a performer. Okay, let's take these tanks off, and I see magnets on them. Okay, cool. All right. Oh, yeah. And it's shiny. It's already got like a clear coat on it. Interesting. Very interesting. We are very interested. Okay. Very low part count. All right, something on the side of the box here. Okay. Oh, just Velcro. Okay, yeah, it's just little things of Velcro. Okay, cool. Very cool. All right, this is going to be a chore here. They've got this packed in here to stay in here. Okay. Oh, that's what it is. The thing's glued to the side of the box. Okay, set that off to the side. Let's get to the bottom of the box here. Got your rudder. And look at that, it's even got like a backing plate so that it doesn't get damaged to protect it from the underside. See, that's attention to detail. Only a reputable company is going to do stuff like that. They want to protect their investment. So What kills me is how stiff this foam is. I know you can't feel it watching it on a video, but just take my word for it. It's very stiff. Something that tells me this thing's going to have a lot of speed. Not a working rudder. Looks very nice. Very good looking. And open up that Velcro. Put all of our bits and bobs in there. Okay. Okay. Sorry about the beeping. That's the battery. They sent out their new 2200 shorty with it. All right. Let me look at the light real quick. All right, it's got a Wingspan obviously already embedded in it. That's nice and protected there, the connections. Okay, let me see if I can just... Careful not to cut through my wires there. Got a mess here. Okay. We've even got space for these wires to sit down in there. Very nice. Very nice. Oh, adjustable links, so you can adjust your wings. Nice one-piece wing. Some protection there. Of course, I got to know. Ah, so you can't get it wrong. I'll probably glue those on. So that's easy. Okay. It's a good looking model here. We got foam protecting everything there. All right. I'm hoping that somewhere in all this there's some screws. Oh, that's all plastic. Okay. Oh, carbon fiber tube. That whole thing's carbon fiber. Yeah, let's look down. You look down, you can see those blades. What is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Looks like 7 bladed. ESC is embedded in here. This is all hard plastic here. Right, this whole section is plastic. This is all, look at this. That's all plastic, and the nose is all plastic. So this is definitely meant. This, you know why there's no screws? There's no screwing involved. There are no screws. The whole thing glues together. That's why. And that's fine with me. That is fine with me. The whole thing screws together. All right, let's be right back. We'll change our positions. All right. As you can see, a very low part count. We already had those joined. Okay, you got your fuselage, your wing, drop or fuel tanks, vertical stabilizer, rudder, horizontal stabilizer, elevator, canopy, a couple of pieces of Velcro. Now, I'm going to, first off, very complicated, hard part of the build. Okay, I'm going to take some Velcro. Sticky Velcro. This is the Velcro that was provided with the plane. Okay. Make sure I guess that's my elevator servos out of the way. And I'm going to put that Velcro down just like that. Okay. All right. Now, while we're here, highly suggest before you start gluing, this whole plane glues together. have yourself a servo tester. Go ahead and check your servos. Okay, this is my elevator servo. I'm going to go ahead and check it. Okay, so I know it's working. Go ahead and get it centered. Okay, so that way that part's done. Okay, let's take a look at our other very complicated servos, our ailerons. Okay, before we glue that wing down, everything's already hooked up, so I don't have to worry about those being centered. Okay, now to put this plane together, you're going to need some very intricate, horrible tools: sandpaper and some good old white glue. Okay, let us start with, put the wing off to the side for now, and let's get our tail feathers taken care of. You're going to put your elevator on first. Okay, I like to sand. All I'm doing is just roughing the surface of the foam up. Okay, I love these sanding blocks. These are called Gator sanding blocks. Okay, obviously this is where the foam is going to be touching, because that's obviously not. I'm going to sand, just going to make a rough surface here. Careful not to get on the paint. Okay, and I'm going to take my glue, and I'm going to dab a little glue. Okay, on there. See? Dab a little glue here. Now, I'm going to mate these two pieces together, making sure you don't get glue on this tiller arm. Okay? See how it's getting stringy? Get that all lined up. Look how your checks, see them too, how them triangles are, lines up there, how that channel lines up. You get that channel lined up with itself, you'll be in good shape. Okay? And that should get it perfectly centered. All right, we're going to let that dry a little bit. Okay, I'm going to come in here. I'm going to sand the bottom part here, because that's where it's going to touch. The foam's going to be touching. Okay. Put me some glue in that little bead there. Not going to go crazy with it, because you want the glue to go down there in that channel, because that's where your EDF is. Okay. Let it sit down in there like that. Make contact one time. Then I'm going to pull it back out again. I'm going to go ahead and put just a little bit right there. Okay. Now this is very important. Run your finger along there. Make sure you always want to get a little bit of glue on your fingers, because it's just law. Models go together so much better when you got some glue on your fingers. Don't ask me why. I don't make these rules. Okay, make sure that's all nice and seated in there. Okay. The excess off. I'm not going to have to give this thing a clear coat. It's already shiny. Okay. All right. Now, That was complicated. Okay, we're going to let that go over here for a little bit. I don't want to disturb that. Okay, I want gravity to be my friend right now. Okay, one thing I want to do is while that's curing a little bit, let's go ahead and take the time. We know that this is going to be joining up from underneath, and those wires are going to come in through with that channel right there. Okay, so kind of give myself an idea of how this is going to fit. Okay, there's little cutouts, underneath. You can kind of tell, see them right there and right there. So that kind of gives me a clue as to where everything's going to be. So let me go ahead and rough those areas up a little bit. Okay, go ahead and turn this over. Paying attention not to hit that tail. Okay, here's the area. This is where you can kind of go to town on sanding. And you don't necessarily have to do this sanding. It's just something I like to do to give more surface area for the glue to attach. Okay, all right, now making sure I don't bump that tail. Okay, we'll start putting some glue. Nice healthy bead, get it in those little indents. Okay, set that there. Okay, I know that indentation there. These are all the areas where it's going to glue is going to be touching. Okay. All right, now got this upside down. Going to fish that through. We already talked about that area. Should be able to see it hanging down there. Pull that on through. Okay. You're going to get a little bit of glue on it, no big deal. Okay, then I'm going to line that section up. Something I should have done was dry fitted this first, but I didn't. But there's that little piece of that puzzle. I remember those little protrusions in there. Okay. Get that sandwiched together, making sure nothing is sticking out. Okay. And I'm going to, because it's got those protrusions that are going to hold it in place. And then this is where you're going to have to take some time. Okay. Kind of hold it together for a few minutes. All right. If you see, now I've taken a heavy 6S battery and let that sit on there for a little while. And that spongy sanding block is keeping just that part together. So I'm going to let that sit for just a little bit. And I told you that these tanks are magnetic, okay? They only go on one way. Okay. Magnets are not super strong. So I think I'm going to go ahead and just glue these on. Okay, what we'll do at this time, we will pause the film. I'll get my receiver ready, get my battery ready, and we'll be right back to finish this up. Alrighty, we're back. I've got the wing permanently adjoined now. Okay, so now, and I've already put the Velcro in there, and everything's nice and secure. Okay, so I'm not worried about my wing coming off. Everything's on there, and I went ahead and glued them drop tanks on just because I wanted to. All right, we already knew our servos were centered and everything, but we're not worried about that right now. Right now, what we need to worry about is receiver placement. But in order to put receiver placement in here, we have to think about where the CG is, because I may need to move this battery backwards and forwards in order to get the right CG. So we need to know what the CG is. Well, in this quick setup guide, it tells you that your CG is 49 millimeters back from the leading edge of the wing root, where it touches the wing. So right there. So let's go ahead and get ourselves a measurement. And I like using these calipers, okay? I've already got it set to 49. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it down, then I'm going to make a little indentation there. Remember where that indentation is. I'm going to put a black mark right there. Now I know it's just a black mark, but over here, same thing. Make an indentation, and then put a black mark right to the side of it. I know you don't, well, that's going to be on this wing, but I want to know where it's at. So what I like to do, do the same thing on the underside. Okay, read wing 49, make an indentation. Okay, 49, make an indentation here. Okay, and I'm actually going to write 49 there. You're not going to see that when you're flying anyways. So what I want to do is I take a hot glue gun, okay? And what I like to do is make a drop of hot glue right there on those marks. Okay, that way I can feel it. I'm going to do the same thing, because they do say in the manual, they suggest you do it from feeling it from the top of the wing here. Make a spot there, and make a spot there. All right, that way I can feel it when I go to check the CG. It gives me something to put my finger on. Okay, take our hot glue gun, put it back on the charger. I like this little wireless $17 hot glue gun. Okay, so let's go ahead. Now we know where our CG is. Let that glue dry a little bit so I'm not putting my fingers in hot glue. And let's just dry fit. I'm going to be using an AR631. Okay, and I'm going to just I'm going to put it back here next to the elevator servo. Okay, let's set it in there. Really, you know what? I don't need to put that in there just yet. Let's put the battery in here. This is the 2200 4S shorty that they sent. Okay, get these wires up out of the way. And I'm gonna guess that this CG is going to need to be a little bit. That battery is going to be a little bit forward. That's just the way that's just a feeling I have. So I'm gonna put that on there. All right, that glue's had enough time to dry, and let's put my fingers on my glue marks. Haha, it's still tail heavy. That means I go from underneath here, feel my glue marks. Still want to be tail heavy, but let's make sure of this. Let me back you up just a touch so you can see just what the heck I'm doing here. All right. All right. Now, Hobby King, I know y'all, since y'all are wanting me to, do these kind of things for you. This is your CG stand, Hobby King. You need to bring this back. $14.95 is what this, you carried this for many years. You need to bring it back. It's very handy. Okay, it's got a little rubber thing. You put a plane on here. It's very simple to get your CG right. Okay, so I'm going to go underneath the wing here, and I'm going to visually look where I lined up with my black marks there, which I almost am here. Okay, visually lined up there. Visually lined up there. And that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Turn it over. I'm going to visually line up with my mark here. Because you got to remember, your finger has a little bit of give and take. So it's not as precise as something like this would be. Line up with my mark. That way I got that visual reference. But see, when you put it upside down, it's kind of starting to favor nose heavy just a little bit. Okay, just a little bit. So, and you can still do this with your fingers, but it's not as precise, and something like this is going to bounce. These are on a pivot head. Hobby King, you need to bring this back, I'm telling you. You just don't know how many, Hobby King, how many requests I've had for that stand. So I'm going to put that battery just a little bit further forward, just a touch further forward. Okay. And I'm thinking that I'm going to be spot on now. Okay, let's look at that visually on this side. Okay. And I do my big 90mm jets, all my big stuff, expensive planes, everything. I do that on this kind of stuff too. Okay. And that's actually starting to be slightly nose heavy. Let's turn it over. I think we were okay right where we were. Okay, put that there. Put that there. All right, I think we're okay where we were. Still want to be so. Okay, so what it tells me then is that I can take this battery, move it right there. Okay, so you see where I've got the end of the 2200. There's about maybe a ½ inch gap there. Okay, so that tells me that that's the spot to put a 2200. Okay, so I'll make a little line here and here. Okay, and then I'm going to take it and I'm going to write 22K. Okay, and I'm going to go back that way. And I know that my 2200 goes this way. Okay. So put that back on. Oh, by this entire thing's plastic. All that's plastic. Okay. So let me check it like I'll be at the field. Put my fingers on my glue marks. Okay. See, it doesn't feel as precise, but they do suggest you do it from underneath the wing. And that's pretty good. All right. So now we know we got CG. So now we know where we can anchor down our receiver. Okay. So look at how much room I've got in there. Take that battery out. So that means my battery's down here. I've got all that room. So where I'm going to do is I'm going to anchor, hot glue in my receiver right there in front of that elevator servo. All right, we're going to plug in the servo. This is my ailerons. It has the long Y here, and this is the throttle servo. Okay, because the rudder servo is connected to that rudder servo, right? The rudder servo lead. So I'm going to connect this and put this in channel 1. Okay. This is my servo. This is my throttle. I'm going to go to channel 1. Okay. Ailerons are always channel 2 in Spektrum. So plug that in. This is really overkill, but Spektrum doesn't make a 4-channel safe receiver with AS3X and everything. I wish they did. Okay. All right. So those items are plugged in, and the white wire, the yellow wire, the signal wire always goes towards the label on the top of the receiver. Okay. All right. I'm going to tuck them wires down and out of the way. Take my antenna. I don't know what I'll do with the antenna just yet. That's something I'll do later on. All right. I'm going to put that receiver back in there. Or that receiver's LiPo back in there. Okay. Now, I've already set up the profile for the Hobby King L-39. Got my timer set, and that's all I've done. Okay, that's the only thing I've done. Set a timer. I don't have a throttle cut. I don't have anything. Just named it and set the timer and turned the timer alarm thing off because I hate that. All right, so we got our receiver in there. We got our battery in there. We know that's a good place for the receiver. That's a good place for the battery. Everything's happy. Okay, so now we already know our servos were, everything was neutral. So now we can go ahead and plug in our battery. Okay, press the bind button on the receiver. Get it flashing. See, it's flashing now. Okay. Okay. Hold down my bind button.
Binding. Bind complete. DSMX 22 milliseconds. Telemetry.
Okay. Now, I want to tell you something. This is a used receiver. This already came out of another plane, so it's got some pre-programming already on it. We're going to get rid of that and make it a fresh receiver. So we're going to put this plane off to the side for just a minute. But we know we got communication. We know that it's received, that it's bound to this plane. Okay? What I want to do is I want to show you something. You have communication with your, we've already established that. You've got good communication with the plane. All right? But I want to wipe that. This is the beauty of forward program. I want to wipe that receiver clean. So I'm going to go to forward programming, make sure my throttle cuts off. I'm going to go to other settings. See where it says factory reset? Okay, I'm going to hit apply. Okay, and hit bind again. Now that receiver in there is flashing, so we'll hold down the bind again.
Binding.
Okay.
Bind complete.
Now listen.
DSMX 22 milliseconds.
Listen to the plane.
Telemetry.
Just listen. Trust me. You're not going to hear that dance. Okay. Now, remember, you did not hear the dance. Okay. I've got communication, but you didn't hear the dance. And the reason you didn't hear the dance is because no AS3X, no gyro, nothing is set up. It is a blank receiver. It's just a regular receiver. It has connection to the plane. That's all it's got. No gyro, nothing going. Okay? So, what I want to do at this point, so I know that I've got connection. Let's go ahead and get our, where's my plane stand? Let's go ahead and get our elevator hooked up. All right. If you look, see how that is lined up right there? Okay? Let's go ahead. See how this is? This is a servo protector. You want to pull. Let me get a little tool here. Okay, you're going to want to pull that out of there. Okay, and I'm going to want to put this little piece off the side. This little piece off the side. Don't lose it. Okay. All right. What I want to do. Open this up. Okay. See where that connection there is for the elevator right there? I want to loosen that up so that rod moves. Need a little Phillips head screwdriver. Loosen up just a little bit. Okay. So that this moves. So this rod here, this steel wire moves. Okay, I'm going to put it, now I'm going to put it on the inside most hole because I like a lot of deflection. I can always dial that back. Okay, now see how that's poking through there? How that's poking through right there? Okay. Sorry you went for a ride. You're going to take that. Then it's got the hole there. Put it like I like to do is put a tool or something in there to hold. This is where a cameraman would help to hold that rod in place. Push that on that tube, okay, and then squeeze all that down. Okay, now that doesn't fit very tight on there. It won't come off, but it won't. doesn't fit very tight. I think, you see, oh yeah, see, that's going to pop off of there fairly easy. So let me show you a real quick little easy fix for that. A zip tie. Okay. Now, if this had fuel tubing, this isn't that kind of connection. Pay attention to your zip tie. Okay. Run that zip tie through there. I mean, this thing has no weight whatsoever. The zip tie doesn't have any weight. Okay. I'm going to put that on there, and that way that zip tie won't come off. It also won't allow that to slip off of there. That way that connection stays solid. And see, but remember, we loosened that screw up. Okay, so let's go back to that screw now. Take our screwdriver. See, that's where we're going, right there. Okay, and we're going to anchor that down because that servo is centered now. Okay, let me hold it with my finger so it doesn't. Okay, that's nice and strong. Okay, up. Look what I did. I fished that through with my finger. Let me get it back to neutral. Loosen that up. Grab a hold of your servo or your control surface. Make sure that rod can move. It's just little adjustments you make. Make sure it can move. Grab this. Okay. And make sure that this is lined up here. Anchor that down. All right. All right. That looks like that's just, there's a bend in that wire that prevents me from pushing it forward, so that may be that way on purpose. It may want you to have a little natural up. So we can take that out with sub trim if need be. All right. Let's go ahead but now that we know that we've got positive connection, we know that everything is hooked up. Okay. Okay, you got aileron, elevator. Okay, but look, when I go down elevator, okay, when I go up elevator, look at that, tail's going down. Okay, that is wrong. Okay, ailerons are correct. Right aileron, that's right, but my elevator is wrong. Okay, before we go any further with forward programming, we have to make sure this is right. If you don't do this as right, your forward program will crash your plane. Servo setup, elevator needs to be off. So if I pull back, I should have up elevator, and I do. When I go right aileron, okay, elevator's right, ailerons are right. Okay, so now we can go ahead and proceed with the rest of the setup. Okay, all right. Real quick, let's set up a throttle cut. Inhibit, I'm going to pick my H. So I like H. Okay, now, forward programming. All right, gyro settings. First time setup. Make sure the models, in other words, you got to make sure everything's going the right way. Well, we've already done that. That too. Okay, the model is level. Okay, but I'm going to take it off of here, off the plane stand for just a minute, and I'm going to set it flat on the table, on its belly. Okay, it's on its belly. So it can't get any more level than that. Going to hit continue. Okay, now what I'm doing, what you can't see, I'm taking the model and I'm holding it up on its nose. Okay, holding it up on its nose, where it's going straight down to the earth and hitting continue, because this computer has to record which way is down. Okay, it knows which way it's down. It knows what position that receiver's in. Okay, now we're going to hit continue. Now Gain channel select. What I want to do, I want my gains adjustable on a knob. So this roller back up here, I'm going to hit gain channel select. Okay. And I'm going to hit inhibit or let the computer want to record which one. Okay. I just move that roller around and it knows aux 8. Now I've got it all the way in the closed position. Okay, so there. Then we'll hit next. Now I'm going to hit apply. Okay, connect. Up here, it did the one dance. Okay, so we now know, in theory, AS3X is set up and we have proper communication. So go back to gyro settings, and before you go to first time setup, go ahead, hit your F mode. You want to know, where do you want safe, where do you want AS3X, and where do you want to have your gyro turned off. Okay, hit FM channel. Sorry, hit FM channel. Get it acceptable. Okay, hit this, and then I like using my B switch. In other words, aux 7. It automatically picked switch B. Hit next. Okay, and I left in the down position, which would be flight mode 1. Okay. Okay, we got that. All right, so we're back out of there. Now we're going to go to first time safe set. Hit the right thing. First time safe setup, and I've already got this in my furthest away position. That's my flight mode 1. Okay. Okay, I've already got the FM channel, so hit continue. We're in flight mode 1. See what happens when I move this switch. See how it changes? Flight mode 2, flight mode 3. Well, I'm working on flight mode 1 now. So we'll hit next. We already know this. Don't worry about it. Level model and capture the attitude. This way it knows, safe part of the gyro knows which way is flying level. Capture it. Now, this is where I take my advice from two brothers, and it works perfectly every time for every airplane. Instead of trying to complicate and moving them all around to get these to 0, what you want to do is take it down to 0 manually. Okay? Take this, put this at 8. Trust me, I don't know why it works, but it works perfectly. That will level every airplane and make them fly straight and true. Hit next. Those settings. Once again, 0 and 8. Hit next. Flight mode 1. It wants to know, what do we want to do in flight mode 1? Well, right now, safe mode is inhibited. So instead, we're going to hit it right here. Hit the button there. If I can get my self-level angle demand. Okay, that's what we want. Then hit next. Then hit apply. You're going to hear 2 dances this time. First dance. Second dance. That second dance is telling you that safe is running on the plane. Okay. Now, go back to gyro settings. Go back to your F mode setup now. Okay. You're in flight mode 1. You already know. Self-leveling. That's what that is. Okay. Go to flight mode 2 now. AS3X is active. Nothing else is going. Okay. Then go to flight mode 3. Okay. That's the position closest to me. That's the way I like to do it. And I'm going to, instead of having AS3 active, I'm going to inhibit it. Okay. I'm going next. Okay. And then I'm going to go through the modes. Flight mode 2, flight mode 3. Or flight mode 1, flight mode 2. Okay, we're going to go back. Flight mode 1 is safe. Go to flight mode 2, just AS3X, and go to flight mode 3, it's inhibited. Okay, now, go back, get out of here, get out of here. Okay, and now, that actually is the very basic setup for AS3X, for your basics safe and AS3X setup. Okay? All right. Now, remember, we're in flight mode 1, which is safe. So, if I angle this plane up, see how that elevator is rising and holding its position? Okay? Watch them ailerons. See how they're holding their position? Okay? Had I not made sure that all my control surface were going the right way, then then these control surfaces would be going opposite, and safe would be correcting the wrong way. So it's very important that that step that you make sure all your control surfaces are working the right way the first time. All right, so that's safe. Well, that's fine. What about AS3X? Okay. Hey, wait a minute. I'm in AS3X. I'm in flight mode 2. How come I don't hear any gyros? Remember I said I got that knob turned all the way down. Turn the knob all the way up, and look at that. They grossly correct. Grossly correct. So if I turn that knob down to say maybe a quarter, now it's just a little bit of correction. Okay. Now, if I go to flight mode 3, manual, nothing's there. Okay, there's nothing there. Go back to flight mode 2, AS3X. Flight mode 1 is AS3X, but also self-leveling, where it holds its position. And that is the basic way of setting up AS3X, okay, and safe. So now we know all that is set up. Let's go back and put it in AS3X. Now, I'm not super happy with how that bar is, and it automatically holds that elevator up, okay? Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to go in there to model adjust. I'm going to go to servo setup, and I'm going to go to sub trim, and I'm going to go to my elevator, okay? And I'm going to take that back down to where, see, it's nice. I want it to be just, so I can go up or I can go down, but I want that to be perfectly level, okay? And I'm going to click OK there, okay? So now, look at all that movement I got, okay? This is what you call bench trim, okay? Straight across, everything straight across. That is a benched trim plane, okay? Bench trim, nice and straight. So if I put this in safe mode, watch what the elevator is going to do. It's going to rise just a little bit, okay? Now, I may find when I fly that they had that way for a reason and it starts diving on me, but I'll know, okay? So, safe, it's going to come up just a little bit. AS3X is going to go back. It's almost indetectable, just a little bit. Leave it in AS3X. Now, let's put the plane. Now we're going to set up our throws according to the manual. We've only got aileron and elevator to worry about. This is our flying rates. You've heard me talk about flying rates, dual rates, expo, and flying rates. Okay. Sorry, this video is a little long, but I want you to set this thing up correctly the first time. Okay, I love using these gauges. Okay. All right, you can clearly see your elevator. You can clearly see your aileron. Okay. I'll put a link to this video, or to this flow meter, in the description of the video. Let me get you a little bit closer in here. Okay. All right, we're going to worry about our aileron right now. Okay. Now, you're going to set this on the aileron, right in the middle of the aileron, clamp it on there. Okay. You want to get this where it stays at 0. Might have to tighten it up a little bit. Okay. Okay. Where it stays, where that pendulum stays at 0. Okay. Now, book says that the throw for the aileron, 30 or 60. Aileron low is 30, aileron high is 60. This is in millimeters. Okay, so on my transmitter, that's going down. You know what? We're going to have to do it like this so that swings freely. All right. All right. So what do I have at 100% travel on Spektrum? What does it do naturally? All right. That puts it at, looks like 23. And also puts it about 23 there. Okay. Well, says, wow, 30 millimeter, 60 millimeter. Wow. Well, that can't be right. That's an awful lot. All right, well, we're going to just go by our high, because that's an awful lot. I mean, that's plenty of throw for this little of a plane. So we're going to leave it at that, the factory settings, of what it goes, 22 millimeters that way, 22 millimeters that way, and we're going to leave it alone. Yeah. That must be a misprint. There's no way that could be 80 millimeters. Okay, well, all right. So I'm going to set my high travel at 100%, and I'm going to put in 40% expo. Okay. Okay, and that's what that's going to look like on the ailerons. Okay. Okay. Now, and then anything else is going to be lower than that. Okay, I'm going to stay on my ailerons, and I'm going to go. Now I need to pick what channel I want to put my rates on. So you hit on. I like using my G. Hit G. Okay. Rates on high are going to be 40% or 100% with 40% expo. Hopefully you're not staying in focus. I'm just holding it in front of you. Okay. All right. And then I'm going to put this. Dang it. I did that wrong. I want to be in the high rate. Okay. My high rate's going to be, I like the switch to be highest to me, or so that's my high rate. Put that at 40. I made a mistake there. 40% expo. I'm going to put my in the middle position, and I'm going to take that down to, let's see, we were at 100, so we'll go down to say 80 with 40% expo. Okay, then I'm going to put a low position, and I'm going to put that down to say 60%. If I can get it to move, and that's at 40% expo. So look at your aileron. Okay. All right. Higher. This is low rate with 60%, 40% expo. This is your mid rate, 80% with 40% expo. And this is your high rate, 100% with 40% expo. So ailerons are done. Let's look at the elevator. Okay. Okay. Same procedure. I'm going to go ahead, hit here. Go to elevator. There's no rudder. Okay. Pick my switch. I like my G. Put it in my low position. Book says, where's the quick setup guide, which I think these are an awful lot. For elevator, it said low is 30 and high is 80. Okay, well, let's see what the old throw meter says. Okay, get it zeroed. I'm going to be in the top half of the screen. Let me move the camera here. Okay, put the throw meter on there. Get it zeroed. Let me get that pendulum where it moves freely. All right, it's on 0. So let's see what high rate with no rates, how that looks. All right, that takes it to 20. That takes it to 20 both ways. So I can't see that being any more than that. That's an awful lot of throw. And that thing says 30 and 80? No, we're not going to go with that. All right, we're going to stick with our high rate elevator at 100%. Okay, I'm going to move it to the high, move my up position closest to me, that's my high. I'll leave it at 100, and I'm going to put at 40% expo, or expo, if I can get this thing to move. Okay, put it in the middle position, and I'm going to take it down to 80 also. Still got glue on my fingers, and that's part of the problem with 40% expo. Okay, then I'm going to put this in the lowest position, the lowest away from me, and I'm going to put that at 70 or 60. Okay, and with 40% expo also. Okay, so that's my flying rates now. All right, now let's move you back and let's move on to some fun stuff. Okay, basically the airplane is done. Let's show you a little bit about the IX-14 and how to make those custom callouts. Okay, y'all always comment about my my funny callouts. Well, I'm going to show you how I go about doing that. Okay, you're going to go to your model setup, audio events. Okay, switch changes. I'm going to hit plus. Okay, I hit this. First, I want to do my throttle cut, so I'm going to hit inhibit, and I'm going to grab that H up here. Okay, now it knows it's H. For the furthest away position, which are position 0, that is where I'm going to pick. That my throttle's on. It's live. So let's make motor is hot. Period. Space. Burn the boy. Little evil laughed. Okay. Now, for prop is secured, motor is all chilled. Gotta spell it right. Doing this at an angle. Chilled out. Okay. So if I hit the switch.
Motor is all chilled out. Motor is hot. Burn the boy.
Okay, we're going to go back. We're going to make another one. All right. Now, we got our hit plus. Hit the. Remember we put G for our rates? I make that one pretty simple. Hit G. The furthest away is my low rates. So I'm just going to put low rates. Low rates. And remember it's 60. So I'm going to put low rate 60, period. Okay. Mid rates 80. Okay. And high rates 100. All right. Now if I go for the rates.
Mid rates, high rates 100. Mid rates 80. Low rate 60.
All right, and I know they're recorded. Now the last thing we're going to do is our safe stuff. Okay, remember we picked aux 7 or the B channel. Okay, I'm going to put it in my safe mode. And I'm going to write safe mode. Okay. Second is, I like this caps, AS3X mode. Okay. And then this one is where the gyro is off. I'm going to put trimming mode. And that's really all we have with this model. Okay? Really, that's all we've got. There's not much else to this model. Now, as far as the AS3X Plus settings, I don't really know how I'm going to do that for sure, but I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do, and I'll show you. But let me go through this real quick, okay? Just to prove you that the audio callouts are correctly assigned, okay?
High rates 100.
Okay.
AS3X mode.
See? Now,
Low rate 60.
about less movement. All right. Now,
Safe mode.
see, look. Holds its position, right? That way I know the audio call-up correctly corresponds with what the plane's doing.
AS3X mode.
Okay.
Trimming mode.
No gyro. All right. So now I know. And, of course, I got a timer set up, but you can't hear that until the timer actually set up. And all it is just timer reset and starting the party over. So it's the same procedure for timer. Okay, now, let's talk about AS3X Plus. You got to make sure your throttle cuts off or on so that you don't have any throttle. Okay, we're going to show you one more important thing. I'm going to go back to forward programming. Okay. And this is where I want to show you, these are the starting rates I like to do for a jet. These are what I like using for a jet. You can use what you want, but if you're using AS3X, this is what I like to use. I'm sorry this video is like almost an hour long, but it's everything. Okay. Oh, there's a glare. All right. Okay. Gyro settings, AS3X. I'm going to leave the gains at one-time gains. AS3X gains. Okay, you got to be in AS3X. I'm going to leave roll, pitch, and yaw for that right now. I don't have to worry about yaw because there is no rudder. But pitch, okay, that's a pretty big rudder. That's a pretty big elevator. So let's move that down to say 30. I'll make it 30. About 30. Make it 30. Okay. All right. And roll. You got some pretty good size elevator or ailerons. Let's take that down to 30 also. We don't need that much correction. Okay. Priority for me on jets, I like them all at 100. I always put priority. And I'm only got to worry about roll and pitch. Okay. Okay. Leave that alone. Now, heading I don't do anything with. Stop lock. I like a crisp stop with my elevator or my servo, so I'm going to go to 50 on that one. And on pitch, I'm going to go to 50. And I don't need to write yaw because there is no yaw. No yaw. Leave it at one-time gains. And that's all we're going to do. All right. Now, one more thing that I want to do, and if you have Spektrum planes, FMS planes usually are this by default. That's your calibration of your ESC. You don't have to worry about. With other planes, lots of times you need to do it. And it doesn't hurt to do it. All right, and it's a very, very simple process. Okay? Number one, make sure...
Motor is hot. Burn the boil.
See, there's a little bit of hesitation when I hit throttle. Okay? The throttle's on. Okay? Now, I'm going to undo my battery. Throttle would work. Undo it. I'm going to take my throttle all the way up to furthest amount. And as soon as I hear 2 beeps, I'm going to drop it back down to 0. Cell count. As soon as I heard those first 2 beeps, I dropped it all the way down. And what that does, that records 100% throttle and 0% throttle. Now, I've got immediate throttle response. Okay, the only thing I'm going to do off camera is reroute that antenna. But let's do something else that's fun. Let's just see what kind of throttle response, what kind of, this is just a simple old redneck way of is she 1-to-1 thrust ratio. Throttle on. Oh gosh, yes. Oh gosh, yes. Oh yeah, she wants to jump right out of my hands. Yeah, this thing is going to be an absolute rocket. It's going to be an absolute rocket. It will be. Draw a cup. All right, folks. Well, there you go. That is the complete unboxing, build, and radio setups with AS3X and forward programming and AS3X Plus settings. The only thing I don't do, I don't mess with hand launch because it's, for me, it's the same thing as safe. You just put it in safe, okay, chunk it forward, okay, and then once you've got yourself a nice steady forward momentum, go back to your AS3X. That's the way I'm used to it. That's the way I teach it, and that is the safest way. Now the launch assist is fine, but I just prefer just throw it in safe. It's so much easier. It's so much easier. Okay, there you go, folks. Now, like I said at the beginning of the video, okay, this is going to be for a limited time. Once this is released, I have no idea how much it's going to cost. I don't even want to venture a guess, because then if I say the wrong thing, hey, well, that guy said it was only going to be this much. Okay, I don't know. I don't know. I can't tell you because I don't know. But if I did know, I'd tell you. When it's released, because it should be released, supposed to be the 10th of October. Today's like the 7th. So when it's released, they got a certain batch. I don't know the numbers, but they got one batch. They're sell them all, and when they're gone, they're gone. And the factory made it very clear to Hobby King that they are not making any more. So grab it while you can. I can tell you right now, based upon how much this model weighs, you know what, real quick, let's weigh it. Battery in it. This is in grams. Let's weigh it. Okay. With the battery, just hold it in place. With the battery, 875 grams. Okay. Now, I don't know how much thrust this thing puts out, so that doesn't really tell you anything. But I'm going to tell you right now, the way it feels, and based on my experience with planes, this thing's going to be a rocket. Now, to give you a size comparison of the other L-39 that I have that's in the same class, this is the Arrows L-39, okay? This has a 50mm fan, okay, and designed to run on 3S. I run them on the small 4Ss. This has a 64mm fan and must run on 4S. And I'm telling you right now, this thing is going to leave this one in the dust. This thing is going to smoke. So part of our maiden, or part of our first series of flights, will be a speed test. You better believe I'm going to want to know how fast this thing will go. Okay. Well, alrighty, folks. Thank you so much for watching, Hobby King. Thank you for putting trust in me. Launching this thing, I more than likely am going to launch it like this, straight that way. The other thing you might want to do is launch it from underneath, okay? But I'm more than likely just going to grab it from the rear and chunk it forward. All right, good looking plane, already shiny, already got a clear coat on it. And here you go, folks. Thank you so much for watching. God bless y'all. Hobby King, thank you for this opportunity. And God is good. This is going to be great. And God bless my viewers. And don't forget, folks, faith, family, and friends. And let's keep them in the air. Keep them in the air. Bye, y'all.